It's time for Down on the Corner with Dale Hoffman, North Arkansas's premier news talk program. Brought to you by Brewed Awakening Coffee, with 3 locations to serve you. Baxter Regional Medical Center lobby, Highway 62 412 at Balmer Boulevard, and the Walmart East Plaza. And now, Down on the Corner.
You're good.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Good morning, North Central Arkansas and Southern Missouri. It is Tuesday, October 31st, 2017. Welcome to Down on the Corner program. Dale Hoffman, your host, along with Scott Callis and Jerry Hogan. Guests today's be Baxter Regional Medical Center. Tobias Pugsley and Jody be here in just a few minutes. First, as usual, we will start with our morning prayer. Heavenly Father, today I pray for all of our elected leaders, for the mayors of our towns and cities, the county judges, for our representatives and senators, both state and federal. For our president and his advisors, I pray you guide each decision. Lord, how much different would our problems and issues be if we prayed for our leaders instead of being critical? Regardless of political party, they deserve our prayers. Lord, help us as a people to pray and not criticize. It's my prayer today. Amen.
Amen.
Well, good morning. It's Tuesday, October 31st, Halloween day. Love your costume, Jerry.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's original.
365,
Yeah. Real good. Scooter, what's your excuse?
This is my costume. What are you talking about? Gil dresses me.
Boy, that's an interesting middle picture.
That was. I probably should have said that a little different.
Yeah, I think so.
Take 2.
Temperature-wise, can we look at those temperatures today?
You bet.
We are at 31 degrees in Mountain Home. Harrison checks in at 32. Hardy's at 37. I love driving through Hardy. I don't take that route. You know, it's not a bypass. It's a truck route. Keeps those trucks from downtown Hardy.
I completely agree. I
But
drive.
I love going downtown Hardy. I love downtown Hardy. 37 there along the beautiful Spring River in Mountain View, Arkansas, another pretty town. 41 degrees there. Yellville, 38. Love Yellville. We've got a pretty area around here, you know.
It is beautiful. If you just get out in your vehicle and drive around and just look at the different towns and I love the historic parts of town.
Yeah,
You go to the
downtown
old
Cotter,
town.
Norfolk, Yellville, Flippin, areas like that. 38 at Yellville, 41 at Marshall. Poplar Bluff, Missouri checks in at 34, while Branson checks in at 28. We ready for that radar?
You bet.
Here we go. Nothing in Arkansas right now. Showing some showers, as you can see on the screen here. Texas and New Mexico, a little bit of shower activity in western Kansas, moving into southwest Nebraska. So click on Arkansas. Ready for the Arkansas click?
You go ahead.
There we go. All highways in Arkansas right now are clear. 62 412 east-west, Highway 67, Little Rock to Poplar Bluff in good shape. You can see in the map Branson, West Plains, Poplar Bluff. That should be what US 160 running across there. In Arkansas, interstates 30, 40, 49, 55 look like they are in great shape. And so every morning at this time, we're going to be having the radar stops and the temperature. So if there's a temperature you need to know on one of the cities that you may be traveling to or live in. We had a call yesterday. Bob was here and got a call from Kirkwood, Missouri. They were watching the show in suburbs of St. Louis. Said, can you service my lake house?
Awesome.
HVAC. So hello to Kirkwood, Missouri this morning.
Awesome.
And so what we got going for Halloween around town, we have some, Jerry, you had...
Yeah, I signed up a
folks?
guest. It's all about family and fun putt-putt up on Highway 5 North, right across from the old Simple Man's. But they're having $1 putt-putt all day, $1 hot dogs, 50-cent hot cocoa, and just... So if you're out trick-or-treating and kind of want to get something to do, go on out there.
That's a pretty cool place, though. We went, me and Gil went out and filmed it, and of course, me and my son, we had to play a little putt-putt while we were
sure.
there. And they've added, too, from what it was before, they put challenges at the hole. They got these weird boxes that you got to hit a certain way or you got to do certain things. And it was pretty neat.
Pretty challenging?
Yeah.
How'd you do?
Jerry was out there working while we're out there playing putt-putt, which I felt bad. Not really. Hey, I got a hole-in-one on hole 4.
You did?
Yeah.
You didn't try it?
I haven't played the course. I was selling that day, Dale.
Oh.
He had to work.
I had to work.
Somebody had to.
Speaking of a sale, very glad to have Reeves Propane on. Thank you very much, Mr. Reeves. So
Yeah.
he's off and rolling with us.
Well, good. Yeah, outstanding gentleman out of Horseshoe Bend and Batesville area. Been serving the northern part of the state for a while now.
And a lot of people don't know it, but he practically started John 3:16 around here.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the money backer. You know, they had ideas, but he put his name on the dotted line. So
That's good.
He's
Brian
the one.
Jones.
I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve. We've talked to him and interviewed him before, and that guy, you know exactly where he stands. I mean, he's a very personal guy. He's got great religious values. He's just great to talk to. He
Boy,
really
he
is.
Yeah.
He's just a
proud to
great guy.
call him a friend.
And just,
Yeah.
what did we say yesterday? Local. What this
That's
is all
what
about.
I'm
Local.
talking about.
Let's reiterate. Let's take a look at the calendar again. Excuse me, Thanksgiving Day on the 23rd. I have to pull it up here on the phone. But we want to encourage folks to consider shopping local. That's why we made the move to television, because of the local economy. And this station, the conglomerate of stations, supports the local economies.
Yep.
The money stays in Baxter, Marion, Boone counties, you know, and it's invested here, it's spent here, and appreciate the Reynolds family for what they're doing. But look at your calendar. The 23rd of November is Thanksgiving. So the 24th and 25th, that's what they call it, Black Friday.
Black Friday.
And then you have the 25th, 1 month from Christmas Day is on a Saturday in November. That's going to be another big shopping day. Then you have, what do they call the Monday with the internet stuff?
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday.
Cyber
Well,
Monday.
let's change that to Local Monday. You know, we've got a lot of great stores in Mountain Home, in Flippin, in Yellville, in Mountain View, in West Plains, in Branson area, in Harrison. Keep the money in Arkansas, Missouri, folks.
I completely agree.
So,
Yeah, and you even get out.
and we got a whole week. Look at this. You got a
And-
whole week after.
And I got to throw this out there because one of our local businesses that you live by every morning, Brood Awakening.
Oh yeah, I can't forget about Brood Awakening. Brood Awakening. As you heard of the introduction, Jacqueline told you, we got Brood Awakening at Bomber Boulevard, Highway 62 at Bomber Boulevard, Walmart East Plaza, which is out by Anytime Fitness, that log building. You got QT's Cupcakes, and you've got Brood Awakening Coffee, and then of course in Baxter Regional Medical Center's lobby.
I do have to bring up, because if you have not tried one of their cinnamon rolls, they are massive. They are huge for a cinnamon roll.
Well,
They
yeah,
are
let me
good.
pull this. You get a paper plate about this size right here. You see it on the cameras here. It'll fill it up.
Oh yeah, easy.
It'll get you hopping too, man.
One cinnamon roll is a meal for even Jerry.
Yeah, that's amazing. Get you hopping.
Oh yeah, boy, you get
There's a Southern term.
get about
Describe that, Jerry.
4 cups of Brood Awakening and cinnamon roll. You'll be cleaning this whole barn, man.
We
That's
need
hopping.
we need to do an entire show on Southern language.
There you go.
You know, have you ever? Well, I'm fixing to go eat. That means I'm about to.
My daughter went to the FFA and said, "Do you have any interesting conversations?" She said, "Yeah, I did, from this girl from Wisconsin. Couldn't figure out why everybody down here said y'all." So she had to educate her on the word y'all.
You're talking to Jerry about Southern language. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the one
I
that
wrote the
explained to
book.
me
He
that
wrote the book.
he's the one that explained to me that Ewan's is y'all plus 2.
Ewins? I have to ponder on that one.
Ponder. What's
Ponder.
that? There's another.
Oh, this show is just going
We're
south.
off the rails. Break
No
us
pun
back,
intended, but
man.
we're going south in a hurry, right?
Tobias just laughed.
I don't know if that's a laugh or a smirk.
Oh, anyway, are we ready to take a break to let Tobias and Jody come in and have some fun for a while?
You bet, you bet. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with BRMC, Tobias and Jody.
Get it hopping.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family. Hello, I'm Charles Ferguson. Here at Mountain View Chevrolet, we still do business the old-fashioned way with honesty and integrity. And we have a good inventory of new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs from large to small. Our service department has all GM certified technicians, and our friendly salespeople are ready and eager to fit a car truck to your needs in a price range you can afford. We also have a lot full of pre-owned cars and trucks, program and new car trade-ins to choose from. So come see us at Mountain View Chevrolet.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the Southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with the Pie Lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant located on the square in Mountain Home.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
And we're back, and we want to welcome BRMC, Baxter Regional Medical Center. Tobias Pugsley, Jody's here. Hey, welcome, gang.
Good morning. How's it going?
How you been?
Doing good.
So I've got a New York Times here. We got a lot of talked about, and you're smiling from ear to ear. This is quite an article here we need to talk about.
We big news. We were on the front page of the New York Times with a story about the hospital and how healthcare really relates to our community and the impact that healthcare has on our community. And it was actually a really neat project. So we got a call from a lady, Patty Cohen. She was the reporter. She's actually an economy reporter for the Times. And she came down, and we scheduled some interviews, about 3.5 days worth of interviews. We met with over 50 people talking about, the hospital and what their thoughts were and what they thought about what Washington was going to do with healthcare. And it was really neat to see the community really rally around the hospital. There were so many great things said, and the article, captures a lot of it, but it really was interesting. What they wanted was they wanted a state that did Medicaid expansion whenever they were kind of figuring out what hospital they wanted to do the story about. So they wanted a state that did Medicaid expansion, and they wanted an area that had a high propensity of healthcare workers to population. Well, the national average, I think, somewhere around 7 to 1. In Baxter County, we're actually 4 to 1. So 25% of everybody in Baxter County works in healthcare. So anything that might happen in Washington, would obviously have an effect on this area. So it was really neat. We didn't know what to expect, so they sent this reporter down for 3.5 days, and spent a lot of time with them. And then they sent a photographer down, who actually had won a Pulitzer Prize. It was really, really neat. Great photographer. Got to take him to Bridge Bash. Took him around the schools, took him around the hospital. We saw a lot of really neat stuff, and that was the end product. And we're just really happy that a media outlet like the New York Times recognized little old small Baxter Regional Medical Center.
What did they think about being in this part of the country?
It was interesting. I mean, you could almost see perceptions change a little bit. I don't think they really knew what to expect right when they were coming in.
Were they surprised you wore shoes down here?
I think that was their first shock. No, I think they were pleasantly surprised about, one, I don't think they really had a grasp on this being a retirement area, and how important healthcare is to the retirement sector. I mean, a lot of people will decide on where they want to retire based on how good the healthcare is there. And I think that was a little bit of a shock to them right off. And then to see their perceptions about the people change. They didn't realize so many transplants from Chicago and Wisconsin and all that were here. So it was really interesting, but both of them left smiling and saying they would come back, maybe on vacation, bring their families. I mean, that's what we want. That's what our area is all about. We want to show you a good time. We want to show you how hospitable we can be, and say yes, ma'am, and no, sir, and treat you with Southern hospitality, and make you want to come back. I mean, that's what Mountain Home's really about.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
so Patty, the reporter, actually, they said they were going to come back and probably, a year after something happens with the Healthcare Act to see the impact that it's had on the hospital. So we do anticipate them coming back and doing a follow-up story.
Well, now when it comes down to the Affordable Care Act, do y'all have this nightmare, because we don't know which way it's going?
That's it. I mean, we get a lot of questions on that, and there's so many different scenarios that could play out. We just hope that whatever they do decide on, that our legislators will really take into account the perspective of hospitals and how those do impact rural communities like ours, and ultimately our retirees too. We don't want them to suffer and not have the health care that they deserve. And they've earned that right.
I think what I've heard, Tobias, in fact, I've got a family member. I've got a cousin, 51 years old, and his wife's about the same age, and they're healthy, but their premiums are $1,901 a month.
Yep.
Almost $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm seeing from family members where the premiums are just through the roof. But it's 4th and 3. What do you do? Punt or pass?
Exactly.
We don't know.
And I think that's why it's kind of froze right now. Nobody really knows what to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Well, now,
was told a
would
long
these
time
people,
ago.
Would they sit and talk with Mr. Peterson or somebody in the financials, say, look, this is how you have it, this is how we need it? Can they not work with these hospitals?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Barnes and St. Louis, Mayo in Minnesota, and other big hospitals.
Yeah.
Can they not go in and say, where have we messed up? What can we fix?
Yeah.
Are they listening to the medical community?
I get the feeling and the general sense that they are. They're taking into account, but what you'll find is the challenges and the things that the Mayos of the world are facing are very, very different than the challenges that the Baxter Regionals of the world are facing. While some of those things are similar, a lot of those are different. We want to, our mission, and we want to remain independent, comprehensive, and community driven. That's our complete focus. That's what we want to do.
You control your own destiny right here. Is that
precisely, correct? And we would prefer not any outside forces, dictating that one way or another. So that's why what happens in Washington is so pivotal. That's why, Ron he has those conversations with our senators and our congressmen, and they do talk to him, they do listen to him, with him and Barney. So,
Well, didn't Mr. Peterson and Mr. They go to Washington
Yes.
and sit down and talk with
They do.
Senator Bozeman, Senator Cotton, and the other representatives. Probably Womack out of Northwest, and then of course you've got Rick Crawford here.
Yeah, they've all been extremely generous and kind with their time and listening, and that's all we can ask for. That's all we want is
So
just to
when we
hear.
take this in perspective, we're talking about Mountain, Arkansas. Let's look at Boone County, Harrison. Let's look at Fulton County over at Salem, West Plains, which is not going to be affected by Arkansas's Medicare exchanges or the exchanges there. But let's go to Mountain View, Arkansas. How are each one of these hospitals totally financially different than BRMC, or is there similarities?
There's similarities, but there are things that are they share common. We technically consider our service area to cover everything that you just mentioned. Boone County technically is in Baxter Regional Service Area. For things like open heart surgery, cardiology, those things that Boone County doesn't offer at their hospital. And so while there are a lot of similarities, Ron also has a great relationship with those folks, with Bebo, with Vince. And they have conversations because, a lot of our struggles are similar. And that's what's kind of neat is, we're willing to share information, and our legislators are willing to listen, and that's really all we can ask for. I think that's why we feel like Baxter Regional is in a really great place right now. Regardless of what happens, we're glad that media outlets, especially like the New York Times, are...
What date was that? The 17th of October?
17th, yeah. It was a couple weeks ago.
And that is awesome. So, when you sat down and talked with folks from the New York Times and you told them the good and the bad of the... a broken clock can be right twice a day. If I pulled the battery out of this two times a day, it's going to be right, So, there's good and bad. So, how do we eliminate the bad and bring the good? Were they able to sit down with you and say, okay, what do you like and what do you dislike?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of neat because I had conversations with Patty too. This was kind of an interesting time when they were here because that's when a lot of the Trump fake news stuff was happening. And I asked her, I said, just point blank, what right now, a lot of people are calling you fake news, and how does that make you feel? And she says, well, it's really disheartening. Imagining if, you're a marketer and a few people in marketing were doing something to discredit your entire profession, but it left everybody in that profession looking incredible. So it was kind of an interesting conversation, because they went beyond what I ever expected to get every fact right.
Good.
She made the example. She says, I'm going to try to get this as accurate as possible. But let me give you an example. One time I was doing an interview with a gentleman, and he had something in his glass, and I was referencing, Mr. So-and-so had tea in his glass and a smile on his face. Well, I couldn't remember if there was tea in his glass or if it was actually water, so she called to verify whether it was tea or water in the glass.
That accurate on the recording.
That accurate, because they want to get it right. And that's one of the things, we're kind of worried because we didn't know, New York Times coming in, are they going to try to slant something? But we really feel like they told a fair story.
Good.
And
Did
they
you talk
painted us
about
in a
Arkansas
positive light.
Works, Governor Hutchinson's program?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that, and we didn't get into too much detail. She had actually had quite a bit of knowledge on that coming into it. They had definitely done their research. But one of the things we agreed on, when Ron and Barney and I and the rest of SLT sit down, the one thing we agreed on was we're going to be transparent with this story. We're going to give them the facts and the things they need to tell the story that needs to be told, and that's whatever happens in Washington is going to have an effect on rural America and going to have an effect on our community. So
now in Arkansas Works, if that's working well for the hospital, which is wonderful, and that money so far is free money, what happens when that starts trickling down and the feds don't pay in? How's that going to affect the hospital? Is this another 4th and 3 situation, Punter Pass? What do we do? Because I think it's been very successful for BRMC, and it's helped.
And the story kind of goes into a little bit. They took $12 million away from Medicare, and
that hurt right there.
That hurt bad, and then we kind of got replacement with the $4 million from the Medicaid. So, yeah, if that Medicaid, the $4 million goes away, it's going to hurt.
Did they go left pocket, left pocket with the money? What they do here?
Yeah, I wish I knew all the ins and outs of the financial. Yeah, but it's basically just looking at, it's still hurt. It's still a reduction. You think about the cost of goods and things going up. How much is our reimbursement? On a knee surgery went up in the last 5 years.
But now
zero. There's no increase in payment, even though the cost of goods and everything else is going up. So you start thinking about those things. That's just one. That's just an example. But
so you get pretty good stings off of that one.
Well, and that's the thing is we got great leadership over the hospital, and we got a fantastic staff, and the nurses and everybody. And what we do is we really just try to be prepared. We try to keep our finger on the pulse as best we can, and we try to stay out in front of things. And when you have smart, intelligent people, hardworking people like we do, that's how we're able to survive and remain independent.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow. What else we need to talk about before we go to break? The New York Times. Well, I need to open this up to 12.
Yeah, show them the sections, because that's what was really neat. Is we had the first page above the fold, and then it opens up in the center there.
Hey Jerry, come over and give me a hand. Get this on the camera.
And it opens up to the spread, and like I said, David Winter, who was the photographer.
Right, see if Scooter can get that on that
I'm
white.
I'm gonna put it on you. Hold on.
Yeah, there we go. This is the spread on the New York Times, October 17th. Shaken by health fright and worried about jobs deep in Trump country. And who wrote the article?
Patty Cohen.
Patty Cohen out of where she lived. She's
in New York. And it's kind of interesting. So the photography, David Winter, who I was talking about, this was just a complete collaboration with the community. You look up in the right-hand corner there, that's ASU, Mountain Homes Medical nursing students. We took them over to, it was Cancer Awareness Night at Yellville Summit.
I saw
So
that.
we took it, yeah. And up there in the middle, the big picture there, that's Dr. Bradley, our new neurosurgeon, his 6 kids.
Wow.
So it was just a complete collaboration with the community and all the people that would be affected. So it was pretty neat.
That's pretty good. Let's get a shot of the front of that New York Times. What do you think, Jerry? You like that? There you go. New York Times, October 17th, right here, about Baxter Regional Medical Center. Pretty neat, Scooter.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of it, and it's.
So when are they going to follow up?
We think it'll probably be around a year is what she had said originally. It probably depends on when something actually does happen with healthcare. Probably
I don't see anything happening until about April or May of next year, minimum.
Yeah.
Primaries and election. I hate to say that, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
Get the little jab in there for those guys.
Yeah. Well, also we'll definitely let Jody take over the show when we get back here. But I do want to say Friday is Alzheimer's Awareness Week, and Maruk is selling these shirts. We're going to get our purple on.
Yay!
Yeah.
Good job.
So those can be picked up at the Maruk House, and this Friday, November 3rd, you'll see people all over the community wearing these purple shirts, and so we're pretty excited.
And so
I'm going to wear mine.
BRMC covers how many counties now?
12
counties?
Yes, sir.
And you even reach up into state of Missouri?
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Ozark and Howell County?
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can remember the days 45 years ago, a compound fracture would send you to Springfield.
Oh, yeah.
Now you got Springfield really coming down here in some aspects.
In some situations, absolutely. It's been neat. I was actually in Mountain View at Beanfest this last weekend, down there meeting people in the Mountain View community. And it was neat to hear some of their stories as they come up and talk about, oh, my brother was just in your hospital, and the nurses over there are so sweet and kind. And, they would tell me a story about one of them getting a pillow or, just helping them out. And they just said, I've been in a lot of hospitals, but just the hospitality over there, you feel treated first class.
And that makes a difference.
It does. It feels good to hear those things out there in the community.
It really does. Wow. Scooter, you got something to add over there? You're awful quiet.
I'm taking it all in here.
I think he's in a food coma over there. I mean, the food was so good this morning.
Jody hasn't had any breakfast yet.
Oh, I will.
Breakfast provided by Old Time Restaurant on the square in Mountain Home. Thank you, Scooter.
Yes, well done, sir.
We are happy to do it.
We've got biscuits and gravy and bacon and sausage, both links and patties with scrambled eggs.
Don't forget about the pork chops and steak.
And the pork chops and steak. I was getting to it. I'm watching the clock. I'm trying to feel for time right here.
We're happy to do it. Tickle pink.
Well, are we ready to take a break?
We can take a quick break.
We got some good local spots to run here, don't we?
We do. We got some local ads. We'll get them played. And
back with BRMC right after this.
You got it.
Stick around.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Hello, I'm Charles Ferguson. Here at Mountain View Chevrolet, we still do business the old-fashioned way with honesty and integrity. And we have a good inventory of new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs from large to small. Our service department has all GM certified technicians, and our friendly salespeople are ready and eager to fit a car truck to your needs in a price range you can afford. We also have a lot full of pre-owned cars and trucks, program and new car trade-ins to choose from. So come see us at Mountain View Chevrolet.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the Southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with the Pie Lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant located on the square in Mountain Home.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Hello, I'm Charles Ferguson. Here at Mountain View Chevrolet, we still do business the old-fashioned way with honesty and integrity. And we have a good inventory of new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs from large to small. Our service department has all GM certified technicians, and our friendly salespeople are ready and eager to fit a car truck to your needs in a price range you can afford. We also have a lot full of pre-owned cars and trucks, program and new car trade-ins to choose from. So come see us at Mountain View Chevrolet.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the Southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with the Pie Lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant located on the square in Mountain Home.
Have you? You're good.
Welcome back to Down on the Corner program. BRMC, Tobias and Jody are here. Always good to have y'all. I look forward to it.
Thank you. We always like being here too, and you know, congratulations on the second show.
Yeah, thank you.
Got to watch a little bit yesterday. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, we're debugging. I mean, you know, it's a little bit of a transition, you know, coming over 10 years at one spot, now 2 days at the other, but it's fun.
Well, we're having a lot of fun so far. I wanted to bring Jody, who's one of my favorites, over at the hospital. I think she knows that. But,
that's scary.
The biggest thing that happens for Rappel every year is the World Diabetes Day. So I'm not going to steal any of her thunder, but I'm going to let her talk all about it because it's going to be awesome. She's got all kinds of cool stuff planned.
Well, I just am very thankful to be on the second day show. You know, I showed up yesterday and tried to be on the show, and you wouldn't let me. So thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Let's see, who's the producer, Jerry?
I was just really eager to get here and you know, be a part of this with you guys.
We had breakfast yesterday.
So that's what it was. Yes. No, we have in the past always tried to do some community outreach and community education. Of course, we have our diabetes program at the hospital, which you know, every day I'm amazed that people come and that they call and say, you know, we don't have a diabetes education program. We don't have anybody here to help us with our diabetes. Can we come down to your program? And we have people coming, you know, we were talking before the break about our service area from all over. Gosh, I think I had a class a couple of weeks ago with like most of the people there from West Plains, you know.
Really?
So just
Good.
lots of outreach that we're able to do, and we're so glad to be able to do that. And our, you know, main point and focus, of course, is Baxter County. So every year we do a outreach program to our Baxter County residents and beyond. I mean, of course, it's open to whomever, but we have just a day of diabetes education. We have vendors coming in. Some of these folks are local. Some of them are nationally sponsored vendors that all have a vested interest in our diabetes patients. We'll have some insulin companies. We'll have some pump companies there. And then we'll have special guest speakers throughout the day. I've got several lined up for our program this year. I'm really excited. We were on Healthy Connections with Kim Foxworthy. She's our Arkansas Saves coordinator. She coordinates all of our cardiology and cardiac protocols there at the hospital for those open heart surgeries and those heart caths and things that we offer to the community that is a little bit more high-tech and high-end than some of our smaller counterparts. So I'm really glad that she's going to come and talk with us. And then I'm really excited about our new cardiologist here in town. We're certainly
Really? I think I'm unaware on that one.
Yeah, we have a new cardiologist, Dr. Tobias. and I always want to say Tobias because my friend Tobias, but it is actually Tobiah, and he's over at Cardiovascular Associates. So he's going to come and share with us the connection between diabetes and heart disease, heart attack, stroke, and some of those, fairly, higher in the mortality range and more serious conditions that can happen to our folks who have diabetes as well.
Now let's break this down. We've got a few minutes to talk.
Sure.
What exactly is diabetes, and are there different stages?
There are, and what's interesting that you asked me that question is I've been looking at and studying on the stages of diabetes, because there are a couple of different types of diabetes, and I'll go into that as well. Not to bore you all to tears this morning, but it is important to understand that some folks are at higher risk than others, certainly.
Is it hereditary? Can
and there are some definite genetics and genetic traits in that as well. So if you have a family member, a first-degree relative, sibling, if you will, or mom or dad or grandma or grandpa with diabetes, odds are you already have some genetic makeup there for developing the disease. And then we also look at things like age, and certainly lifestyle and eating habits and exercise habits and things of that nature that do increase our risk sometimes for diabetes. But
I remember in grade school, there's 4th, 5th, 6th grade, we had 8, 9, 10-year-old with diabetes.
That is correct, yes, and we do see that as well. Not as common, and again, a different type of diabetes.
Really?
When you typically look at juvenile onset diabetes and what we used to call juvenile diabetes. But the general population, for most of us, are going to be more at risk for type 2 diabetes, which is that metabolic issue that we all get when we get a little more mature, have a few more 8 years on our birthday.
She's looking at me when she said that.
No, I'm thinking about myself too, because I'm, thinking about my birthday coming up. But yeah, it is, and the older we get, the higher our risk goes.
Did you just plug your birthday?
I did, yeah.
Seriously, you worked that in there?
Smooth.
I know.
So smooth.
I am.
What day?
I will be accepting presents. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually,
and that address to mail them to?
Yes, and my address is. But yeah, it is, and I do think about that because this is a big, this is 35 for me, and 35 means
I got shoes that old.
Yeah, 35 means we're closer to 40, and 40 means we're closer to that
I'm pushing
age mark.
60.
So, and you're in great shape, and so
Well,
good job for that. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed. I would not
Really?
have guessed. No. Mm-mm.
Hear that, Jerry?
But back to and to get back to diabetes and seriously for just a moment, our risk factors do certainly go up, and looking at our health population here, we do have a considerable amount of folks that are in that age bracket of
Now, is this
being
a
more at risk.
pancreatic
We have an issue
dysfunction,
with
I guess is the word I'm needing.
Yeah, exactly. We have an issue with our pancreas producing insulin, which helps us regulate and turn food into energy. So diabetes, in the simplest term I guess I could give, is just meaning that you have too much sugar in your bloodstream, and you get that sugar in the bloodstream by not using the sugar. So when we eat, we eat our breakfast, we eat our lunch, we eat our dinner, we eat our snacks. We want to be able to turn that food into energy, and without the pancreas making as much insulin as it once did, or none at all, we can't readily turn food into energy as well.
I know that pancreatic cancer is just super deadly.
Yes.
Is this a factor?
Pancreatic cancer can be a factor to diabetes. And diabetes can be linked back to pancreatic cancer, of course, certainly. But there's not any major connection between a person who gets diabetes going on to get pancreatic cancer. So that's good news. It's a little bit different of a bird as far as medically speaking and what's going on with the pancreas when you're talking about cancer versus diabetes.
Really?
And with diabetes, we see that the pancreas just kind of wears out. It just kind of gets tired.
Really?
And over time, especially with type 2 diabetes, and in the later stages, as we were mentioning earlier, it decreases its functionality. So we see it happening, of course, certainly with our elderly population a little bit more commonly. But now the latest research is showing even those of us less than 40 and folks that are turning into their 20s are being more at risk. And some of that is what we're doing, what we're not doing, what we're eating, what we're not eating. And the availability of junk foods and the lack thereof. And I love our computers and I love our technology, but it certainly has taken away from just, you know, hard, laborious work as well. And we don't do as much as we used to. So we don't need as much food as we once did.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of complexity there, and there's certainly a lot of different things to learn. I learn something new every day. And then going back to what you mentioned earlier with the children with diabetes, totally different ball game, totally different situation. When we see juvenile onset diabetes, or what's now classified as type 1 diabetes, that is just a complete stop, if you will, of the pancreas making insulin. And so what happens is that person from then on must get insulin back into their system. And usually that involves injections and shots. Sometimes we even do some insulin pumps, which I'm really excited that we're able to do that right here in Mountain Home.
Really?
And we've got some great physicians that support us with ordering those pumps and getting folks what they need when they need it. We're not talking about driving to Little Rock and Springfield anymore. You know, you can go right on over to the doctor's office and then come over to the Rappel House and get your training. So it's a really neat partnership that we have, and we're really excited to do that for folks.
Let me tell you from the other side of the fence, 'cause my daughter, Caitlin, she's a type 1 diabetic, and I got my mic down here, I'm sorry. My daughter Caitlin's type 1 diabetic,
Really?
and on this side of the fence. And I bring it up because she's actually proud of it. You can hear her talk.
Sure.
It's something that, you know, she's proud of her pump, she's proud of everything, and the fact that we can take care of her here, and Jody can take care of her needs, and between her and the doctor, it's a big thing, because if we had to drive to Little Rock every time we had to make a change, or every time something needed to be adjusted, it would be a mess. It'd be a completely different ballgame.
That drive to Little Rock is so much fun to begin with.
Yes, it is.
Now, is this something like with his daughter? Is that something that will correct itself as she gets older?
No, probably not. And that's a great question, which, you know, kind of leads me into why we do this World Diabetes Day, because folks with diabetes are diagnosed with a disease that we will not cure. There is no cure for diabetes, neither type 1 or type 2.
Wow.
Some people in the very early stages of type 2 diabetes, when their pancreas is still making good insulin, can reverse some of the effects and certainly get off of their medications. But with type 1, it's a complete and total deficiency of that hormone in our body, and we have to have that hormone. So unless we perfect, which they are working on, but unless we perfect that artificial pancreas technology, or if we see some improvements in some of our pancreatic transplants and things of that nature, which there are a lot of really great and exciting things going on in that sector, in that realm of diabetes management. Caitlin will continue to wear her insulin pump. Caitlin will continue to take insulin every day of her life. And that's what we see, and that's what what gets to be one of the hardest things for our diabetes patients is just, this is a day-to-day, meal to meal, every time they put food in their mouth situation. And there's no break, and there's no vacation, and there's no change in that at any time. And so I think that's what's so important about World Diabetes Day, is celebrating that and saying, look, you're doing this, you're managing your diabetes, you're taking care of yourself. And that's something that, even as their nurse, I can't imagine, Scooter, going through every single day of my life worrying about my child, and will my child wake up this morning, or will she have a high blood sugar or a low blood sugar that's going to cause us to, go to the hospital or have to have medical attention. So just lots of different patients that are very special and near and dear to me, and without getting emotional on a Tuesday morning, I won't go too far into that, but I do want to celebrate with them, and I do want them to know how important it is, and how just wonderfully grateful I am to be able to be just a little part of that and help with whatever it is that they might need.
Yeah.
And so one of the big things this year as far as World Diabetes Day is at 10 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll be focusing on type 2 diabetes. It'll be adult education, adults only, if you will, and we'll have a great part of the day there. But starting at 3:30 until 6 p.m. that evening, we'll be focusing on type 1 with our kids and our families. And we actually have the JDRF, which is the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, coming here to Mountain Home. Again, another big city ordeal coming right here to Mountain Home. And they're going to be talking with us about that artificial pancreas technology and what that's going to be looking like and how we're going to be able to offer that in the coming future as far as for our type 1 patients. So I'm really excited about that. And just, getting the word out there and getting this good science-based information out to our patients.
But is there no preventive for diabetes?
There are some preventative aspects for type 2 diabetes and living certainly a healthy lifestyle, eating a good variety of foods, making sure that you are getting your health care checkups. And, our community, again, provides that right here. We have the health fair every year. We have umpteen, great clinics and physician offices that will be able to provide those things. And then exercise and activity, and what more can we ask for in this part of the country but being able to get out and do. But as far as
So eating healthy
and being healthy,
Jerry, your Tabasco sauce on turnip greens is okay, I guess, huh?
As long as they're not fried.
There you go. I love it. I
you ever
love
seen
it.
anybody put Tabasco sauce on turnip greens?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And vinegar.
And vinegar.
Yes. It's a Southern thing, right?
Vinegar is really popular.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really is.
But Tabasco sauce, I questioned that one.
You gotta add a little
break
flavor
there,
to
yeah.
that stuff, right? Yeah.
Why don't we take a break, Scooter?
All right. Take
Go with BRMC right after this.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Hello, I'm Charles Ferguson. Here at Mountain View Chevrolet, we still do business the old-fashioned way with honesty and integrity. And we have a good inventory of new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs from large to small. Our service department has all GM certified technicians, and our friendly salespeople are ready and eager to fit a car truck to your needs in a price range you can afford. We also have a lot full of pre-owned cars and trucks, program and new car trade-ins to choose from. So come see us at Mountain View Chevrolet.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the Southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with the Pie Lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant located on the square in Mountain Home.
Have you ever noticed?
And we're back. Good to have Jody and Tobias here from BRMC, and breakfast provided by Old Time Restaurant. Thank you, Scooter.
More than happy to.
I'm looking forward to tearing back into it about 8 o'clock.
I know Tobias got here early. He was ready for it.
Well, Jody did too. She got here yesterday.
She camped outside.
When's
for
breakfast tomorrow?
Yes.
I'll wait here.
Camping out. I heard there was going to be a line.
So, we've been talking about diabetes. You had something else to talk about in the diabetes field, right?
Oh, sure. I can talk all day. You guys will have to run me out of here because it is definitely our mission at the Rappel Diabetes Center for the hospital. You know, I work there primarily, but also go over and see patients in the hospital.
Oh, really?
And it's such a a situation and a healthcare issue that affects pretty much everybody's everything. And that's the thing that I see more often than not is my patients coming in either to the hospital or to the diabetes center and saying, you know, I never knew I was feeling bad until I started feeling better. And I didn't know that I even had diabetes. And that's another thing.
So how do you know?
You don't a lot of times. And that's the thing that I kind of wanted to get the information out there for. And we always talk about this in our classes, but by the time you get to a class with diabetes, you know you've got diabetes, or you at least are looking at some other of your, maybe your blood sugar levels or your cholesterol levels or your, you know, blood pressure issues. But the screenings are so important, and you know, we were very fortunate this year to be able to offer our blood testing there at the health fair. So if any of you were able to get that done, then that was fantastic. But also just getting out to your physician's office and either getting your annual labs done. That's a very important thing. And then also voicing any concerns to your physician or your nurse practitioner. You know, look, I've got a lot of diabetes in my family. I'd really like to get an A1C, which is a little bit more of a comprehensive testing for diabetes and diabetes patients.
So there's no red flags?
There are a few, and some people will notice, but what I've found is that the red flags typically are very vague, and so most people will, after I start explaining some of the symptoms of diabetes, they'll say, oh yeah, I remember that, or oh yeah, I had some of that. But really the only three big symptoms that we see for most people are being fatigued or feeling a little tired, which that again can come and go. Sometimes thirsty, and then sometimes frequent trips to the bathroom. And those three things can be blamed on such a huge list of other health issues. You know, maybe I'm on a new blood pressure medication that makes me go to the bathroom more often, or maybe I've not been sleeping well. So yeah, I've been a little more tired lately. There's not
so that's
any
where
kind
the
of
annual labs comes in just to check that blood level.
It is so
sugar
important,
level.
and there's not any kind of huge, you know, pain in my side, or I'm having this, you know, terrible ailment of some sort that's going to send me running to the emergency room. That's not diabetes. It's very sneaky. It's very subtle. And oftentimes if we catch it in that very first phase, if you will, it is easily treatable and sometimes reversible. And that's what we want for folks.
But that's in the early stages.
That is, and that's what we want is for anybody who's having any issues at all, you know, a few minor changes here or there. For example, beverages, and I talk about beverages a lot. And I'm not talking about black coffee. I'm talking about sweet tea and sodas, and Kool-Aid and punch and all of the lovely, you know, frappes and jappes and lattes and all that good stuff. All of those things have a considerable amount of sugar in them, and I don't think we realize how much extra sugar we consume.
So somebody's saying if you're drinking 3 to 4 Cokes or Pepsis or Mountain Dews a day, that
can be, you know, and
terrible.
it's a 4-ounce portion on a regular soda. 4 ounces. So even a can of soda is 3 extra servings a day of carbohydrates and sugars. So you think about that times 3 or 4, and yeah, you've got several different meals worth of carbohydrates there.
So by doing this, we're making the pancreas work harder.
I've covered up my soda.
Yes. Tobias is over here covering his soda. I think that's a diet.
He's got a Mountain Dew the size of a water tower over
You
there.
guys are over there talking.
I love it.
He's over there just looking at me sliding.
Yes. Well, and I will say, Tobias, I see that's a diet. And so if you read the label on your diet sodas, you notice that there are no carbohydrates, there are no sugars. And depending on how your body tolerates those non-nutritive sweeteners, which is anything like Sweet and Low, Equal, Splenda, any of the little packets, if you tolerate those well, you can actually handle and do drink some of the diet beverages, and that's okay. Those are certainly less calories, less sugars, and definitely for those of us that have to have a little caffeine.
But now that's being questioned. No, what do you got? What are you drinking here? Coffee?
I got a little coffee.
Coffee.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But there was one of the networks had a news report on our diet. Soft drinks really diet.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that
They are very diet, yes. So diet beverages in general, whether it be a diet soda or a diet tea or whatever, are usually going to have 0 calories or very few calories and 0
But
carbohydrates.
why do they taste so sweet? Because I like Coke.
Because
but,
they have those non-nutritive sweeteners.
I mean, man,
yes.
you know, beat your head on the wall sweetness for some of them. Ooh, man.
Well, and I like to tell people, you know, I grew up drinking Diet Coke, and I'm still alive. So obviously, you know, you can get by with it. I didn't drink a case of it a day. I didn't drink an astronomical amount.
And I have to admit, I used to
So-
drink a lot of Coke, but now they're coming out with the small cans.
Yes.
Have you seen those? And I
have.
maybe one a day.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I may have half of that and pour the rest of it out.
And that's certainly, again, that's a great point, a better choice, because if you do need a little bit of help, and I certainly do always need help with portion control, a lot of times it's what is there in front of us. So those smaller cans will usually mean that we're going to drink
Well, and you know, you
less.
bring that up. I remember a report one time, and I remember grandmas, you need to eat. And I mean, the potatoes would be piled up this high, and you'd have 3 pounds of carrots and 3 pounds of green beans. Eat. Well, I'm only 4 years old, you know, and you only hold so much. But the report says when kids stop eating, they're full.
Yes.
Don't force them to overeat.
Yes.
That was my excuse.
Really? Mine too. The thing is, I love to eat. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy.
Well, and you have to be careful because, you know, I grew up in a restaurant, and Scooter can talk about restaurants all day long. When you have an abundance of food at your disposal and you are able to, and most of us do, you know, we have good options. We have several grocery stores here in town. We have lots of fast food options. We have a wonderful cafeteria at the hospital that I can go over and get food from all the time. But you have to keep a good balance there, and you have to know, you know, I'm not doing as much as I once did. I'm not as active as I was when I was 18 years old and running 5 miles a day for the high school track team or whatever you used to do. And so you do have to sort of kind of limit some of that.
Yeah.
And then also just try to make, and as I tell patients, just make some good healthy choices throughout the day. It doesn't
Like
have to be
exercising daily.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
Jerry.
be a perfect
Poor Jerry.
you know, portion or anything of that nature, as long as you're keeping it within a reasonable amount. And like you said, you know, we've been conditioned all of our lives, make a clean plate. That was one of my grandpa's biggest things at the restaurant. We can have whatever we want to eat as long as we ate it all.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And they thought those portions that they gave you were the right amount
Yes.
for, you know, it'd be different between all 4 of us sitting here and Jerry. I
It
mean,
sure
you
would,
know.
yeah. And I hate to say it, but us closer to the ground females, we don't need as many calories and carbohydrates as you guys do. And so that's another thing that we look at when we're doing meal planning. You know, I have a dietitian, Miss Jan, that works with all of our patients on
Yeah.
appropriate meal planning for each
Top
individual
notch
patient.
dietitian there with Jan.
Yes.
Wow. Now, what about, real quick, what do we got?
About a minute and a
about
half.
A minute and a half, real quick.
Okay.
Diabetes and pregnancies in women. What is there going to be education in that?
Well, we're not going to probably have a lot of education on World Diabetes Day for pregnancy. We do reserve that, again, for that specific audience. But we do have a class, and I'm glad you brought that up because we're seeing more and more moms who are affected by and getting that good prenatal care to know about gestational diabetes. And so we have a little class that they come over and take, and we help them get their blood sugars more regulated while they're pregnant. And certainly if anybody has any questions about that, let us know because we try to have those classes at least once a week over at the Diabetes Center. Yeah. We want those healthy moms and healthy babies, too.
You betcha.
Yes.
Tobias, final thoughts? About a minute?
Yeah, just want to let everybody know out there, you know, as we continue to do this show, if there are health topics or things specifically that you'd like to know more about, we really want Baxter Regional to be seen as that center for education and distributing information to help our patients be informed. So if you have anything, you can obviously call the station. You can call us at the hospital. And just, you know, tell us what topics you're interested in, what you'd like to know more about. And next year, as we kind of start looking at what shows we're going to do and what we're going to talk about, we'll try to work some of your suggestions into the format. So
Thanks for being here, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Take
having
us
us.
home.
What's up
Time
next, by the way?
breakfast. Oh yeah, we've got Jim Baumgartner coming up in Harrison.
There you go. Stay
Don't know what
tuned.
topics. Stay tuned.
Comes up
Tune
next.
in, Harrison. Here we go. See you tomorrow.
Hold on.